A frog goes into a bank to get a loan.
Imagine.
So the frog goes up to the lady, and she has a little name tag on, as they do. It says Whack. So her name is Mrs. Whack.
Mm-hmm.
So, can I get a loan? Well, I don't know. You're a frog. Well, I want a loan. Well, what's your name? Kermit. You're not Kermit the Frog. No, no, no. I was named after him. The name's Kermit Jagger. My father's Mick Jagger, and my mother's a frog. He fucked a frog. and I'm his offspring. You see? Well, anyways, I want a loan for a lily pad. Well, you can't, I don't know if you can have one. Do you have any collateral? Well, I have this. The frog pulls out a little shiny pink elephant, you know, and a little shiny pink elephant. So Mrs. Whack looks at it, and her name's Patty. I don't think this is much collateral, you know, but I'll talk to the bank manager about it, you know. There's a frog out there, Kermit Jagger, gave me this damn thing. Did you know, have any idea what this is? The bank manager says, what is this? This is a knick-knack, Patty Whack. Give the frog a loan. His old man's a rolling stone.
Oh man.
It all comes together in the end.
That's the beauty about half of his a lot of his jokes are sort of long-winded, and the build-up, the joke is the build-up, and the punchline is so dumb, but it's all about how you get there. That's just like the smallest example. There's so many out there, but we woke up this morning to the news that Norm has passed away. How devastating.
Yeah, totally. And totally unexpected. I had no idea that he was sick.
No one knew. His family didn't know.
Yeah, right.
He according to his manager or creative producing partner, whatever she is, he kept it from everybody.
Yeah, right. That's a pretty difficult thing to keep.
9 years. And the other thing, like the final video he recorded was a cameo video, which was only like a couple of days ago, I believe, and he looks relatively healthy in it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so we thought we'd get together and just talk a little bit about Norm, because we haven't actually spoken about this, you know, at all today until right now. And we we reference Norm on nearly every single show that we make.
Yeah, like Dirty Work is, I think, a seminal film in both our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie seemed like kind of came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I remember it was actually a friend of mine, Anthony, was working at the video store that I would later go on to work at. And he called me up and said, Dirty Work has just come out on new release. Come down to the shop and we'll watch it. So I drove down to the video library and I just sat on the floor next to the front desk and we watched it on the TV in there.
Like, yeah, similar story. Myself and two mates, Stuart and Marty, who will probably be watching this, we came up through the Video Easy video store days. This is before I had a store, and we would binge all of those best of SNL tapes, you know, because we were obsessed with the SNL. It wasn't even the SNL sketches. We were obsessed with the crew, you know, those actors that were like a fraternity.
Well, they're not quite right Hollywood, not quite ready for primetime players.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. And Norm was easily one of the ones we obsessed about the most. Easily. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. I think he wasn't the leading man like all the others were. You know, Adam Sandler had a leading man kind of quality about him, but Norm kind of just flew under that radar, really unassuming. And I guess that's sort of why his reputation is sort of being an outcast and a rebel has sort of, you know, dragged behind him all the way.
Well, he just had this really dry wit.
Yeah.
And when he was on SNL, he was with Sandler and Farley.
Hmm.
Yeah, guys like that who are big, over the top kind of personalities, and Norm is like the polar opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like he was just like the kind of whip smart, kind of observational comedy, and he was hilarious.
Yeah. It kind of it's bittersweet the fact that social media today has just lit up, like it's exploded with tributes. At least my newsfeed has, which
Yeah.
speaks volumes. I mean, there's been bigger people that have passed away and not had as big a reaction.
Yeah, I don't think like when Sean Connery died,
Hmm.
there was like, I mean, there was a lot of stuff, but nothing like this.
No.
Like, like Norm felt like one of us, kind of thing. Like he was an everyman's comedian,
Yeah.
rather than like one of the kind of superstar elite celebrities that you only read about in the paper. Like he was just like, you know
Yeah.
and I
And
guess that's a big part of that too, is that in a lot of the stuff that you saw him in, he did like bit parts, like
mm.
hilarious kind of scene stealing bit parts, but he was, he never outstayed his welcome. He was like one
Yeah,
and done.
do you remember him in Juice Bigelow with the swizzle stick?
Yeah.
Well, how about I shove this swizzle stick up your pee hole? And then when Rob Schneider sort of says, no thanks, he looks at the swizzle stick before he puts it back. Do you remember? Like,
And then who is he in? He's in Deuce Bigelow too, as well as
I
as a
know.
Scottish.
Yes,
He's a
I can't.
Scottish man whore.
That's right. See, I remember him in it like visually, but I couldn't remember the character. Like I didn't
Yeah.
have time to go and sort of remember who it was. But yes, God,
Yeah.
those roles. And remember when he took over Rob Schneider's role as the "You Can Do It" guy in The Animal? So good.
So probably the only good thing, him and the girl from Survivor were the only good things about The Animal.
I didn't mind Michael Caton in that one. It was just amusing to me to see the guy from the castle in this movie for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that Adam Sandler and Rob Schneider had watched The Castle and got a kick out of it.
That was it. Like he had a chance to be Jackie Weaver, but
He totally
but blew it.
I know. But what else to say about Norm? Well, he was 61 years old, which is obviously way too young. But you know what? I think the fact that social media has exploded and the response has been overwhelming speaks volumes for the true nature of cancel culture as well, because this is a guy that got brought down by cancel culture, and yet those same people that brought him down, like your Jimmy Fallons and your Whoopi Goldbergs, have come out with these massive tributes, and it's like, where's the sincerity there, Like,
I know, I didn't realize that. I mean, he didn't give a shit about it. So
no, but he like lost his Netflix show because of it. He
oh right.
Yeah, because the Netflix show was premiering right as the controversy came in with like the Louis C.K. and the Roseanne stuff, and he came to their defense. And because of that, the woke mob jumped on him. And what brought him down even further was he was asked to appear on The View, with Joy and Whoopi and all that, and they tore him to shreds. And the thing about that appearance, it begins with, for the first half, he's sitting back really jovial, taking it all in his stride, having a laugh. When they're getting angry, he's getting happier. Like he's like he doesn't understand the big deal, and he's like throwing nuts into his mouth, like he's just having a great time. And then you see the moment where the severity of it actually hits him, and he just sinks, and he starts to sort of backpedal and try to almost grovel and issue some kind of apology. And that's it. Like he lost his Netflix show because of that, and he has struggled to bring his podcast back because of that.
Yeah.
And but what and the other thing too was Jimmy Fallon, when that dropped, cancelled him from the show, sort of banned him from being on the show because he was scheduled to appear the next week.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Fallon says we will not have Norm Macdonald back on the show because of it. And yet, Jimmy Fallon's one of the first people leading the tributes today, which I found kind of weird.
Yeah. Like a massive double standard.
Yes, and and everyone's praising him rightfully as one of the greatest comic minds of a generation, which I've been saying on our show for a long time, as have you. And it's nice to see everybody on board, but I feel like there's a real, like you said, double standard here, and it speaks volumes to what cancel culture really is.
Yeah.
I just love that he doesn't ultimately give a shit about any of it. Like, I invite everybody here, implore everybody to go and watch YouTube, look up Norm Macdonald Show or Norm Macdonald Live, and watch his jokes on cards, and they don't
Yeah.
get any more offensive, and yet they're so well measured that they're the right kind of offensive.
Yeah.
Because he knows, like, there's context behind them, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was just thinking about Sarah Silverman and how, at one point when she did that Asian joke, and they took her to task, and she defended it, and now, and she was in Screwed with Norm Macdonald, and good friends, I assume, and and then she's like one of the leading the charge of this, woke, politically correct, kind of,
Well, a lot of celebrities are very fearful of it, and we won't focus on it for too long, but like a lot of celebrities are fearful of the cancel culture, and a lot of them turn their back on Norm, but they turn their back on other people as well. But the way I look at it too, their time will come. Like, it all starts to fold in upon itself.
Yeah, well, we all have skeletons in the closet.
That's right, and that's the reason that he essentially got canned from SNL back in the day, because of his, his obsession with
O.J. Simpson.
With O.J. Simpson, but not only that, like, every episode there were rape jokes, and we've had that conversation before.
Yeah, no, but it was the reason he got fired was because Don Odelmeyer, who was producing the show at the time, was good friends with. Oh, he wasn't producing the show. He was the head of NBC West Coast or something like that, and he was good friends with O.J. Simpson and asked him repeatedly to stop.
Yeah, if you, I know that's hilarious. If you read that backstory as well, because that is definitely part of it. But the story of why he got dropped from SNL evolved over the years.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure they found other reasons to justify.
Yeah.
It totally wasn't nepotism. It was. It was for. It's like when you get fired from your job. Like, you need 3 warnings, and all of a sudden, like, if you're late, well, it's a written warning.
Yeah.
Like, they find stuff to get rid of you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But he was the edgiest of all of the news desk readers, that's for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and at that time, remember, it was Chevy Chase that was the only person that came to his defense at the time.
Yeah, one of the stars of Dirty Work.
That's why he was in Dirty Work.
Yeah,
I think him and Letterman were the 2 defenders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, like, today watching those clips, that the Jimmy Kimmel, Matt Damon thing was a total ripoff of what Norm and David Letterman were doing years ago.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it, but that was Letterman's gag, where they would at the end of every episode they would announce that Norm was going to be on the show, and at the end of every episode they would they didn't run out of time, but there was always some reason why he wasn't able to be on.
Norm and Letterman were really close. Letterman produced the Netflix show that Norm did, but Norm was Letterman's final guest when he retired from was it The Late Show? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that performance of Norm Macdonald is the most stirring and emotionally charged thing I've ever seen him do. Like, it was just right from the bottom of his heart and sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else to say? I mean, there's so much. I mean, you and I will probably continue to talk about Norm Macdonald for years to come. Anyway, I mean, I just can never ever hear the word whore without his voice in my head. No one says it better. Whore.
Oh
my God, there's a whore in the trunk.
I love it when I was listening to the as he does. Mark Maron reposted the Norm Macdonald episode. And he was saying that, yes, he didn't realize that how much he sounded like a retard. He was like, people come, like, he was like, I don't think I sound the way I sound. He said, people come up to me and they're like, oh, my friend says I do a really good Norm Macdonald impression, and then they do one, and he's just like, oh my God, I sound like that. I sound like a retard.
And you watch those videos of him doing the jokes on cards, which that is absolutely, other than like dirty work, that is my favorite Norm Macdonald, is the jokes on cards. They are just glorious, and we're gonna end the video with a few of those. And yeah, that the R word comes into it a lot. You know, whores, rape. But it's just so funny, man. It's just so funny. And every guest he had on that podcast/vodcast, he got them. Like, he absolutely had them in stitches, caught off guard. Yeah, and I think that's what
even
that's
guys
what
like Gilbert Gottfried. Even guys like Gilbert Gottfried, who are like known as you know, comedians, but bad taste comedians. Even they are like, in some of those videos you see, they're like, they're laughing their asses off, but they're taken aback by it. I mean, there's a lot of references to black cock.
Oh yeah.
It's he's not averse to racial humor. The old Norm.
No, I know. And when you hear these jokes too, you do not at all think he's a racist either. You know, that's the magic of what he did, was he told these offensive jokes, but you never thought he was offensive himself. Yeah, just glorious, and that's just because he knew where the line was, and he knew how far to step over it.
Yeah,
just the best. Cool. Well, that's about it. Like, nothing more to say. Just maybe we'll leave some clips of his moments. But we thought it was important to get a video out tonight, on the day that we found out the news, so that we can have it there. Because bloody hell, I couldn't believe how fast YouTube had tribute videos up. Like, it was just, goddamn, bloody day job that gets in the way. But yes, whores and swizzle sticks, they'll never be the same again.
Rest in peace, Norm.
Dance like no one is watching, sing like no one is listening, love like you've never been hurt, and fuck like a goddamn retard. Some gold-plated chains would make a nice retirement gift for a very, very good slave. College freshman Scott Damerow, Larry, set a new world record by using his head to bust 142 eggs, and he now officially holds a place in the Guinness Book of fucking retards. I think the reason I most look forward to China ruling the earth is that all of their last names sound like slang for cock. Sometimes I will meet a lady at a bar, got the same disease as I do, and I'll fuck her. He says to me, there's one way to wake her up, but it's a little unconventional. You go in there and you have oral sex with her. I said, by God. So I go in there, I'm in there about 5 minutes, and I come out. I said, Doc, she's choking. Do dogs always race to the door when the doorbell rings? It's almost never for them. Like, I'm no expert, but I think probably most rapists are hypocrites. You have a boy. I know you have a boy. I know.
A boy and a girl, yeah.
Yeah, and but I know you have a boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A new report from the CDC states that only 1/3 of Americans use condoms, while 2/3 of Americans are still pretty cool. Get out! There is no problem big enough that a huge black cock cannot fix. Well, I guess the biggest thing that nobody knows about me is I'm a deeply closeted gay man.
What?
Orange is the new black. But not in my apartment building. Kevin is the new black. Hey, this occurred to me today. ID, which I had to show it again. There's a strange abbreviation when you think about it. I is short for I. And then D is short for identification. Hey, for the 9th consecutive year, Nick, JetBlue Airline ranked first for satisfaction among all North American airlines. But you know what ranked least in satisfaction? 9/11 Airlines. What a terrible name for an airline. It reminds me of that tragedy. Hey, how about this? The Dalai Lama said that killing in the name of religion is unthinkable. Hey, thanks, Dalai Lama. I'm sure everybody will fucking listen to you. No one listens to the Dalai Lama.
No one.
that just because I come in here, I order a Polish sausage, why would you jump to the fact that I'm Polish?
Right.
And the guy says to me, well, first of all, it's a hardware store. A new study found that men with beards are more attractive than men without beards. More great work from the University of Bob Seger. I don't care if a guy's a guy, a girl, a guy, girl. I couldn't care less. I love them all.
What do you make of...
I'll have sex with any of them. Doesn't matter. So I say, hey, you see that pig, that cow, you know, horse? That remind you of any of your relatives? She says, yeah, my in-laws. I said, you dirty dog. Oh, wow! In Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals between the Mavericks and the Thunder, Magic Johnson said that Dirk Nowitzki is playing like he has 3 legs, which is a nice way of saying he's playing like a black guy.
There's a real stream of consciousness thing happening here, Norm.
Yeah, it's called conversation. Who is the better man?
Okay.
Dr. Martin Luther King?
Mm-hmm.
Stalin.